Hello and welcome back. In this project here, what we're going to be doing is scraping down this popcorn ceiling. Now this popcorn ceiling has been painted in the past. It it has a coat of oil on it, and there's probably 1 or 2 coats of latex on top of that. So I can't just use my drywall vacuum sander on this because the oil and the latex paint have coated the surface and it's never going to be able to sand off with that. So we're going to dry scrape it with a 4-inch knife right here. And as you can see, we covered the floors with the ram board because there's hardwood floors under this, and we don't want to damage them because, again, this is going to be a very messy and dusty job, so it's best to get everything out of the room and protect the floors by putting down the ram board. Because if you don't do that, then the popcorn is going to fall into the grooves of like the wood, and it's just going to be a nightmare to clean up. So always try to protect the floors here. So there's crown molding up here, and we're not going to take down the crown molding. Sometimes, like, you can just if you choose to re-drywall right on top of it, you would have to take down the crown and then put up the drywall. Or if you don't want to take down the crown, then the only option is to scrape it and then skim coat over it. But however, be forewarned that when you skim coat over this, you are going to lose some of the reveal in the crown here, because we're putting like 3 coats of mud on top of this after I scrape it down, and it's going to consume probably like 1/4 of the woodwork there. So just keep in mind that that's something that is going to happen when you choose to not take down the crown and to skim coat on top of it there. So what we have here is there was a water leak here, so they cut this out, and they took down the insulation, and they installed a new board there. So what we're going to do is we're going to scrape down the ceiling first, and then we'll tape that later on. So the tools for the job here is I just have a 4-inch taping blade here, and I'm never going to get off all the popcorn because, again, it has been primed in oil and it's been top coated with at least 1 or 2 coats of the latex paint here. So what we want to do is we want to take as much off, or take the heads off as much as possible, so that we don't have to do like 5 coats of mud. It's still going to take like 3 or 4 coats of mud, but you definitely want to take down as many of the heads off as possible, so that you don't have to really put a bunch of mud up there to fill these in here. And again, this popcorn, it does not contain the asbestos, but if it did have the asbestos, you have to go a whole different route. So just make sure that there isn't a asbestos in the popcorn, and always wear a mask for stuff like this, because, again, this is a very dusty and dirty job here. So we're gonna get started here, and I'm gonna put my mask on, and I'm gonna scrape from here to there, and I hope that you can see the depth of the popcorn here. I'm gonna put my finger right there. Okay, so it's not a heavy texture, but it's heavy enough, and it's been painted over and stuff like that. So we're gonna get to work here now. So I'm gonna put it up here, and you can use 2 hands. You can use, on the righty, you definitely want to use both of your hands, and sometimes it helps to use your other free hand as a guide. And okay, so you can see how the surface looks now with just one swipe of the knife. It took off a lot of the heads there, but it's still a surface that has a bunch of impressions in it. So I'm going to put my blade right where I started, and I'm going to do another swipe right down the same one. Okay, so that right there is 3 swipes, and I pretty much taken up a majority of the heads off there. So now this is a surface that you can either just leave light like this, or if you really want it smooth, then you're going to have to skim coat with a joint compound. So I'm just gonna, we just did this area here, and I'm going to come over here. Okay, now when you get into the corner where the crown is, just slow down, because you don't want to go too hard, because then if you go too hard, then you're going to tear into where the caulk was. So just like stop there, and then what I do is I just put my blade down and I apply my fingers there and scrape down. Okay, and what that's going to ensure is, by putting it down and dragging it flat, it's not going to A, gouge into the crown, or B, gouge into the caulk. That I know it's hard to see, because if I try to put it down with my fingers on top and then scratch into it, this corner of the blade is going to catch into the corner where the caulk is. So it's best just to push down on it rather than coming like that. Okay, so I'm just going to continue here, and it's always best. So you should wear some sort of eye protection too, but it's always best to work a few feet away from your head so it's not dropping all over your head in here. Okay, so once you get it going here, when it starts to come out like that, now if you're dealing with like a job where it's not calming off quite as easy, then the best thing to do is overlap only like 50%, so you're not actually putting the blade on all this popcorn. This is smooth right here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep like 2 inches of the blade on the smoothness, and then 2 inches on the rough part, and that makes it easier to cut off. Just gonna move this over here. And as you can see, if you put the camera to the ground, this is what falls off and falls all over the floor here. So as you can see, it creates quite the dusty mess. So it always helps to just to do some more prep work to cover the floors and stuff like that. So you won't ruin the floors. So I did it to right here. So I'm going to put half of the blade on here.
Now you really want to work in the corners because you definitely want to get the corners as smooth as possible so that you don't have to put that much mud up in the corners and lose some of the reveal of the top of the crown molding here. So work it like that. So these are just some tips and techniques on how to dry spray down a painted over popcorn ceiling. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around and scrape the whole thing down, and then we'll be back with the next part when we go to tape the new drywall. So until the next time.